Ember Witch. Book 1. The Lich. Volume 1. Black Tragedy. Chapter 4. Black Tragedy. September 19, 459 BME to October 31, 461 BME. Fragment 46. The Blood Experiments. Vera had been sitting in front of a boiling pot for an hour. The smell of pungent plants and herbs in the air. A tangy taste was left in her mouth and she was on the verge of tears.
Only one last ingredient, then it will be finished,
she said, looking over to Eve, who was tapping her finger against a paper full of notes.
Good, I'm ready to get started,
Eve replied without looking up. Vera dropped the blood of Ares into the pot, then stirred it. She scooped out 2 cups full of a green liquid and handed one to Eve. They locked eyes for a moment, then both drank the liquid. Their bodies went numb, then they collapsed onto the ground.
My daughter, you've finally come to me,
a woman said as she stood with her back toward Eve.
I don't understand, where am I?
Eve asked after a moment. She was standing in a white space void of anything except for the woman before her. The woman turned around, her body entirely exposed.
I have been communicating with you and your family for some time now. I am your holy mother. They're the forgotten goddess.
The woman replied with a sincere smile that warmed Eve's heart.
What for?
Eve asked after a moment.
Your family is very important to my plans. You and your daughters will change the world. Make life better for all.
Vera explained.
What am I to do, your holiness?
Eve asked, bowing to the goddess before her.
At the right time you will summon me to your world, and from there I will grant you power beyond your imagination. Sacrifice the virgin blood of your youngest daughter upon an altar in the crypt of dreams, and you shall receive everything your heart desires.
Vera said, then she was gone. Eve began to fall. The sensation of momentum bringing her down to the darkest depths of her heart. She awoke in a heap and wrote down her experience. Vera woke minutes later and looked around.
What the fuck happened? I saw nothing,
Vera said angrily.
I saw her. Vera. I saw Vera,
Eve said with a smile. Syrya, now more anxious than ever, watched as Jaren walked up the steps to the chapel. He held himself in a more refined posture and even wore a new robe, a sign of the real reason why he had gone on his journey in the first place. She stood with Luke and greeted Jaren, showing him inside to his room.
How was your journey, brother?
She asked after a moment.
It was fine. Your homeland is very beautiful, I will admit that.
Jaren replied, and Syrya swallowed hard. She knew he must have told them everything about what happened. She was in a world of trouble the next time she was summoned to Sin's garden.
Speaking of which, they asked me to deliver this to you,
Jaren said, interrupting her thoughts. In his hand, he held a letter sealed with the Elvyn king's personal seal. Syrya frowned, snagged the letter, and quickly opened it, reading over it 3 times. She was in over her head. This was the worst news she could have ever gotten. She was to be put on trial for the misuse of her powers and position as a church healer. She was to return to Sin's garden immediately and to bring Luke with her, for he was to be officially inducted into the church as a brother. Syrya was on edge. She felt like her entire life was falling apart. Not only is her apprentice the only human mage alone, but she was also unable to tell her that she most likely will not be coming back. She handed the letter to Luke and left Jaren's room. She flung her door open and began packing her bags. She began crying, then grabbed a bottle of Cetraberry and Haven Stem potion and drank the entire thing. Luke came in moments later and embraced Syrya in a hug.
Listen, I know what you did was to protect everyone. We can fight this. I'm being inducted into the Brotherhood. I will surely have a say in your trial,
Luke said calmly, trying to soothe the pain from her.
It wasn't to protect anyone, it was revenge. She murdered my parents and I wanted revenge,
Syrya said back, trying to stay clear of sobbing.
Whatever it was, the gods will forgive you. You are a chosen child. You have been given the gift of healing. Use that to prove you are worthy of it.
Luke said, then let her go.
We will leave in the morning. Get a good night's rest, okay?
He continued, then walked to the door. Syrya turned toward him and began to speak, but stopped before she said anything more than a whimper. She turned back, then closed the door softly with magic, leaving Luke on the other side. Syrya woke up the next morning, got off the bed, gathered her bags, and walked out the door. She joined Luke in the main hallway, then followed him out to a cart. They set off towards the docks through a passage that had been carved through the mountain to the west, without saying anything. A few days later, they approached the ship and Syrya flashed back to her first trip to the island. She stared for a moment, then Luke wrapped his arm around her.
Are you doing okay?
He asked sincerely, and Syrya took a moment to answer.
I have history with my homeland. Harsh truths, great beasts and terrible experiences lay within that island that I would rather leave in the past.
I haven't learned anything about my past, so at least you have something to remember,
he said, then walked onto the boarding ramp. Hoping to find Syrya as quickly as she could, Eri sprinted to their campsite. Finding the fire pit empty, the bedrolls gone, and even her bag of research missing, she knew that Syrya must have left some time ago. She ran back to Ashwood and checked the inns, hoping that Syrya had rented a room. However, no one had admitted to seeing an Elvyn in town at all. Ares made her way back home only to find her sister gone. No note or explanation of where she had gone. She looked around the house in panic, then pulled her collar around herself. The moment she did, the darkness crushed her. Tracing the magic to her mother's room, she flung the door open to see thousands of symbols carved into every inch of the floor. She got to her knees and began flowing her energy into the symbols, illuminating them one by one. As she studied the dark magic before her, she knew that her mother had truly gone.